Your entire body lets out a breath as if it had been holding it for hours as the door closes behind you once you go home. You were simply surrounded by people, no one mistreated you, and now you feel as though you've survived something. You're not broken, you're not depressed, and you're most definitely not antisocial if that sounds similar. However, most people will never comprehend what's happening inside your brain. Because those who actually enjoy solitude possess a particular set of psychological characteristics that science is only now beginning to acknowledge. And some of them will cause you to reconsider all of your self-beliefs. This is the deception you've been told all your life. That social interaction equates to good health. That the winner is the individual with the largest group of friends. That there's a problem if you'd like to spend a Saturday at home. Children who are noisy are rewarded in schools. Networkers are encouraged in the workplace. Even dating apps penalize you for not being available all the time. And eventually you began to think that perhaps they were correct. Perhaps there is a serious issue with you. The exact opposite is what psychology says. It's not even close, either. I want you to set aside all society has taught you about what normal looks like before we discuss the traits. 1. Your brain is not afraid of quiet. Timothy Wilson, a psychologist from the University of Virginia, conducted an almost humorous experiment in 2014. For 15 minutes, he placed people in an empty room. Not a phone. Not a book. Nothing. Only them and their ideas. A button that would shock them mildly with electricity was the only alternative. A quarter of the women and 2/3 of the males shocked themselves. Willingly. Physical discomfort was really more bearable than spending 15 minutes by themselves. Now consider yourself. Your brain doesn't cry for a way out as you sit in silence. It takes hold. It strays into areas where most people never go. Old recollections. Unanswered queries. Concepts that emerge only when the commotion ceases. This is referred to as enhanced interior awareness by psychologists. Instead of looking for outside stimuli, your brain naturally turns to introspection. Input is not necessary for you to feel all right. And that one characteristic alone sets you apart from the majority of individuals who have never sat with their own thoughts without feeling anxious. However, that is the simple one. It becomes more personal in the next attribute. The second trait. Your social vitality is not diminished. You use it in a different way. Because you're not good at mingling, people assume you're exhausted. That is entirely incorrect. Because you're working twice as hard as everyone else, you're exhausted. You truly listen when you converse with someone. You monitor their subtle facial expressions. Underneath the words they choose, you interpret what they're actually saying. That requires a lot of mental capacity. At that gathering, the person seated next to you is scanning discussions like push alerts. You're reading each one as if it were a novel. Decades ago, Hans Eysenck, a neuroscientist, investigated this. Individuals who have a preference for isolation are already more internally stimulated. They are not energized by social stimulation. They are overloaded by it. Consider it similar to Wi-Fi bandwidth. The signal strength is not decreasing. Compared to everyone else, you have 10 times as many tabs open. Your system heats up more quickly, of course. Thus, your limited circle is not a barrier. It's the management of resources. And that directly relates to something even more illuminating. The third trait. Before you process a room, you feel it. If this sounds correct, let me know. When you enter a room, you already know before anyone speaks. Who is upset? Who is pretending to smile? Which two individuals recently got into a fight? You take it all in. Right away. Without attempting. We refer to that as emotional perceptiveness. Elena Ron, a psychologist, discovered that between 15 and 20% of people have this feature at an elevated level. Your nervous system detects emotional cues that most people don't even notice since it is set to a certain frequency. Everyone seems to be broadcasting on a channel that only you can hear when you enter a room. It sounds like a superpower, doesn't it? It's not. Without an off switch, that is. Because leaving is the only way to hear yourself again after experiencing everything at full blast all day. Being alone is not an escape. It's how you get back to your own signal after being overtaken by everyone else's. What most therapists study for years. That emotional barrier separating you from the mayhem surrounding you. When you were a child, your brain created that on its own. However, those who possess this characteristic hardly ever notice this. The fourth trait. Compared to others, your mind produces in a different way. You've probably had the experience of an idea suddenly connecting to another while you're taking a shower, followed by a third. In your mind, you've created something that feels truly novel. Not everyone experiences that. Not in that manner. After analyzing decades worth of data on creative individuals, San Jose State researcher Gregory Feist discovered one characteristic that appeared in every sector. It wasn't skill. IQ wasn't the cause. It was a desire to work alone. For their brains to form the unexpected connections that result in fresh ideas, there has to be no outside noise. Nikola Tesla claimed that long walks by himself produced his best ideas and that he refused to collaborate with others. Nearly all of Kafka's writing was done late at night, while everyone else was asleep. These weren't peculiar behaviors. The engine was that. Thus, each hour you spend by yourself is not a waste of time. Your mind is doing exactly what it was designed to accomplish, and those who advise you to spend more time outside will never realize how much they are really depriving you. However, we must now pause for a moment since we need to take care of something crucial. The awkward query. If you're being sincere about your reasons for preferring isolation, then what I just said is accurate. Because there is an unhealthy version of this. Do you prefer solitude because it gives you a sense of renewal? Because you think more clearly when you're alone? Or do you decide on it since it seems risky to connect? Because no one can reject you when you're alone yourself. A preference is one. A shield is the other. Additionally, they have the same external appearance. Continue reading if you feel liberated by your solitude. It can be good talking to someone you can trust if it feels more like hiding. Because a strong foundation is necessary for the final trait to function. The fifth trait. You don't gather people. They are curated by you. You've been at a dinner table where everyone is chatting, but for some reason no one is speaking, and you can feel yourself losing interest. Not because you're impolite. Because your brain determined that this isn't worth the energy after performing a real-time cost calculation. The way your stomach handles sushi from a gas station is how your brain handles superficial interactions. In a technical sense, it is food. However, your system recognizes the difference and stops pretending after a certain number of pointless interactions. Your circle is small because of this. For this reason, one genuine conversation is preferable to 20 courteous ones. Additionally, those that manage to get past your filter are aware of their presence. Since you selected them. Not because you required them. Zoom out now. A brain that doesn't fear silence. A detector for emotions that can read whole rooms. A creative engine that ignites only in peaceful times. A self-sustaining energy system. And a filter that allows in only authentic information. It is not an assortment of peculiarities. It's a completely distinct aspect of being human. The sad thing is that the majority of those who bear all of this think they are the issue for years. Too delicate. Too particular. Too quiet. Because no one has informed them that their wiring is not flawed. It's the entire layout. The loudest individual in the room will continue to receive rewards from the world. You'll be asked why you're so silent all the time. As though silence is a problem that requires a solution. You already know something they don't, though, somewhere behind all of that cacophony. When no one else is there, you are aware of the sounds in your own head.